What I can't understand is, they make it first, they use it first, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that means only a man who is capable of running 5 times to the mosque, he satisfies that first. And that automatically, the man who can afford it, he can go to the mosque. What about the layman? He cannot go 5 times to the mosque.
The same for Hajj. Yeah. The same applies for Hajj.
So that's why this whole concept, the way we are doing this namaz thing, there's something not right about it.
Well, you see, the point is that even say we knock, for the sake of argument, for the sake of argument, the salah that everybody comes 5 times a day and performs on the salah, say we get rid of it. It's not there. Right? It's not there. But we still need to get together.
Yes.
Right? So you still need, so you're still going to have people who can afford to get together and people who cannot afford to get together. Right? So whether you do that or not, that getting together is an important aspect. How do you make shura if you don't get together?
But the question here is, there is a concept when it comes to this physical namaz, there is a concept that there is sawab.
No, that's we're not talking. We're not even going to go there. We're not going to even go.
You come together.
Okay.
If you come together a few times a day and you use salat to cite ayats that concerns the problem you're going to speak about, as a form of reminding you to stick.
So how to handle it? Yeah.
Won't that put some?
Exactly the point.
Yeah, the idea though is that it's not. Look, people are working. The salah is actually going to be part of their work. It's not a matter of calling people away from the function they fulfill within the community for salah. You have to leave off your trade, yes, okay. But when we talk about fulfilling functions within the society, it's no longer a matter of the man can't afford to come these times of the day anymore. The man who is being called to this salah is being called to this salah because it is pertinent to the role he fulfills within the community. That person, that lady is called to this salah because that salah is pertinent to the role that she fulfills within the community. So it's not a matter anymore of being called at specific times for everyone to come together at one place. There will be the purpose of salah will be totally lost, because if everyone comes to one salah, you can't sort anything out. You'll never sort it out. You'll never resolve anything. You have too many people there that are not familiar with the issues that need to be discussed on that one. Salah is called, specific people are called to a specific salah.
That means those people we call mushriks, like the councils, right? They are performing the salah.
The difference is that they're not using the Quran as the basis, but effectively, yes.
So, why did you discussing divorce? There's a divorce case going. And you come together and you say, let's recite the ayahs concerning the divorce.
That's right.
And you do it in the ritual form before you do this discussion. Doesn't this put some meaning into it?
You could do that, but the point is that to fulfill the purpose, you need to discuss them.
Understand.
You see, when it talks about when you're intoxicated, for example, okay, it says, do not come to the salah until you understand what you say. And the word that's used is qawl, from qawl. This is not about recitation. It's about speaking, what in fact in our salah we're not allowed to do. It says that when you come, do not come to the salah in an intoxicated state, and there's more to that, but until you understand what you say. You need to be there to contribute proactively to the process. using the Quran as the basis.
To answer you, Allah says you must afala yatadabbarun, ponder over the Quran, afala yaqilun, think about it. And then Allah said, Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyyan la'allakum ta'qilun. We have revealed the Quran in Arabic so that you may understand it. So the emphasis is all over. Understand, ponder, study, analyze.
When I say Salat, the ritual Salat was made, the people who made it spoke Arabic and they could understand the Arabic when that they recited in the ritual Salat. So when the divorce case is on, you recite those ayats, which everybody now understands what you're saying, and then you sit down and you solve the problem.
Yeah, you see, the difficulty there is that if you take divorce, for example, and you start from verse 222 to verse 240 something and recite it, no. There's no point to that. You take verse 222 and 223 and you discuss it, and then you take verse 224 and 225 and discuss it. Rather than reciting it, there's no purpose in that.
What do you achieve? Those who haven't made much comments, have you got any comments? Noor, Mustafa?
Looks like we'll have to forego the Surah Qaf today.
In the bigger concept of the Quranic society, it is important that before we start that Quranic society or start moving towards it, that we understand the Salah concept, because then you can have different concepts in one Quranic society.
Yeah, look, I think it's not necessary.
Imran, can I just comment before you? There's a reason why I'm saying so. Did anybody here, let's take an example. Let's say we're ready to start it tomorrow, the society. Did anyone here have a problem with the way Imran explained the Salah? Anyone here? Anyone? Did anybody have a problem with Imran talking about what is Salah? After that, to do with worlds or to do with Salah, etc. Nobody. Nobody. Nobody had a problem.
That's a problem with doubt.
You see, I think.
My point is that that's a doubt. The doubt can be removed with true knowledge. What I'm trying to answer for us is that, you see, we can all come back to one meeting point. That Salah is, end of the day, solving problems, dealing with issues, and meeting together as a community.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe there'll be slight difference. Where we meet, what time we meet, or who attends, women, those can be resolved.
Yeah.
My point is exactly that we can't start this.
And even let's be even if you bring in, right, we agree with everything that Imran says, but we still think that there is a place, right? There is a place, little small place, but there is a place that at 5 times a day we got to do something that is slightly different. That shouldn't divide us.
No, the people who believe that can carry on doing that.
Exactly, that shouldn't divide us. That's the point I'm making.
The point on Jummah. Okay, Imran is performing on his own, you want to join him. Now, you're going to have, for argument's sake, Masjidul Islam people turning around and throwing the same concept that they are believing in back on your faith, because you are still doing what they are doing.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You're doing it more
differently,
but you are still doing the same thing that they
do. No, you're right. Look,
you understand what I'm trying to say?
Exactly.
No, I'm not clear what you're saying.
No, so what Farad is saying, we have in the Jummah, we making 2 rakat salah, we're doing a khutbah, exactly the way they are. I'll tell you exactly what's happening there, and that's exactly what Aziz was saying now, is that in my house, my wife likes to do her, she likes that Jummah thing, she wants to do it still.
Same with my wife.
There's nothing wrong with it. I will do it, I don't mind. If I had it my way, the Jummah wouldn't exist in my house. It wouldn't exist in my house.
Yeah, and because now if you are saying you are Quran, then you need, if you are going to move away, then do it Quran.
Yeah.
Leave the rest.
No, you
can't have it both ways.
You can't do that.
I think you can if you want.
Farat is saying why?
Yeah, I understand that.
Why are we having the rakat?
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Give up the rakat.
Then why are you having it on Friday as well? Because Jummah does not make Friday.
Exactly.
So
why are you still making 2 rakat?
I'm not saying.
No,
it's a good point. It's a good point.
I'm saying that we are talking.
No, it's a very good point.
We are talking Quran.
No, it's a good point.
Either you do it Quran, or you don't move away.
Now can I answer you on that?
Don't move away and still do what
Can I answer you on that? Right. The rakah itself, there is no sin in performing rakah. It's not like wudu. There is no sin. So if a person wants to make his rakah, no problem. Right? Because as he said, Quran talks about your qiyam, etc. I make 1 rakah salat sometimes. No problem with that. I can make 10, no problem. Having it on a Friday, there is nothing wrong on having it on a Friday. If your community is gathering on a Friday, then meet them on a Friday. If your Eid is on a Thursday, then meet up with them on. That's what I believe on a Thursday. Right, I'm answering on my own side. Right.
But before you
the
go ahead,
khutbah, that's where the difference will come.
Where we are as a Quranic study group, then your Jummah should have been on a Saturday where everyone can meet.
If everyone is willing to meet, then we'll have it on a Saturday.
No, I think
everyone agrees to that.
I think you're right, Farad, in that sense, because what happens, look what happens there by me.
Because the Salah is from the discussion we had last week and this week, and I wasn't involved in the first discussion, is that there is a movement towards having at certain times, certain things, your discussions, your whatever happenings of the day or week or whatever it is. And your Jummah Salah should be the weekly one, that where all the daily things are.
We can have it on a Saturday, no problem. But, as long as provided everybody makes shura.
No,
but I'm saying that you guys are moving away from Masjidul Islam or from the community to start your own Jummah Salah. Then do it according to what your understanding is.
Yeah, no, I agree, you're right, and that's what I'm doing at home, exactly what I'm doing at home. First of all, the rakats are in place because my wife wants to do it. I don't have a problem doing it. The khutbah is not it's not a lecture. It's a discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's exactly what we are doing. But you are right, because that's not so important. It's important, but what about within my community there where I live, setting aside one evening a night at the local recreation center
and doing it there?
No. Setting one night there, calling the community to Salah. Doesn't matter whether they're Muslim or not. And you see in the Quran that you can make Salah with mushriks, you can make Salah with disbelievers, and you can make Salah with anyone. It doesn't matter. The Quran quite clearly states. Why can't I go to the recreation center once a week and call people to Salah to sort out the problems of the community?
As long as they make wudu.
Well, that's another issue, but anyway.
No, but I think, you see what Farad, what you're saying, in an ideal situation, that's it. You make your own rules, you got your own community, you move accordingly. But on the day of the workshop, Imran is going to tell you that this was the sadaqah when the Muslims were weak, and as they got stronger, as they got more established, sadaqah became established as a law. Right? Now, and the Quran tells you that you should take things gradually. Right? So now, even if we break away and we have our own, this group, totally committed to having Jummah whenever we got a problem, or Salah as Imran is saying and as I am saying, that, and doing away with the other Salah. Right? We can't do it now. Okay? We can move slowly towards it, but we cannot break away from the system that it exists, and as Iqbal said, is not a system that is totally against the law of Allah. Right? Gradually you move away from it.
I differ only in that on this particular issue we can move away from it. If you want to find the first Salah in the Quran for me, read the beginning of Surah Muzammil, or the whole of Surah Muzammil, right up to the 20th verse. That was the first salah in the beginning stages. It wasn't a meeting of joining the other people. What it was the believers getting together at night to understand the Quran. That was the first salah for me. And then from there it progressed on from there, depending on what needed to be done.
But I think that those of us who still have doubts in our heads, we should take this very, very gradually. Nobody is suggesting, because the Quran is not suggesting it, that we'll discuss the Durood issue with you sometime. We'll come to it later on, because that is a concept that is totally foreign to Islam, the whole Durood concept. Imran explained it earlier, right, but we can go into more detail on that. So when it comes to foreign aspects in the Quran, we have one stand, right? Where we have a dual meaning about something in the Quran, we would have another stand, right? Where we have a singular meaning and everybody is, then we'll have a third stand, right? We're not rejecting anything. If something is totally against Quranic principle and the law of Quran, then obviously we're not going to entertain it, right?
Okay, maybe we should just anyone who wants to. Yeah.
I'll put it together nicely. So it's just fun.
I know. In fact, you're the one that started this discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asked, is everybody still performing in namaz? Like,
I don't.
believe
Yeah,
that
I think most people.
As a group, we need to do the same thing. You understand? Because if we break away from this night and then tomorrow, you're still going to continue with your sunnahs or whatever. It's still going to put the question of, is namaz really that important? You still go back to the ritual.
Yeah, but that's alright. It's not.
No. You see, again, you're talking about sunnah.
No.
Don't even talk sunnah and witr and
but
nafil.
it's part of the ritual.
No, we talk Quran.
Yeah.
We talk Quran, and it is what Allah is instructing us to do in the Quran. That is what we need to do, right? You know, I'm going to tell you something very interesting. Assuming what Ibrahim Bhai was saying earlier, that the Nabi performed, besides propagating the Quran and all, he also performed the 5 times Salah as we normally do in the masjid. You see what the Nabi was doing? You see, to understand the word Sunnah, he was making Farz into Sunnah, which means that the Farz that Allah had told him to do, he was doing. So that becomes a Sunnah. Yeah. The act of doing something is a Sunnah. Not that it was a Sunnah that he created. Okay. So this is where we mistake everything. Right? In fact, if we in any concept of Salah, any concept, right, the total concept of Salah, if we do anything in that because X, Y, Z did it, that is shirk. 100% Salah we performing. Say, we following the whole concept of Talaq, word for word as it is in the Quran. But we're doing something there because somebody else did it like that. Shirk. Shirk. Finished. Right? The common thing is, say, it is sunnah to put water in your nose when you're making wuzu. Right? It's not sunnah. It's farz. Allah says in the Quran, you must wash your face. Is your nose part of your face or not? So why give it another connotation? So I think that also we will come to, because we need to understand these things. Right?
I want to start with very quickly to go through Surah 62, which is Jum'ah, just the Jum'ah one, which is the normally translated as the Friday prayer or the Friday Salah. And I'm going to, because we are kind of familiar with it, I'm not going to read the whole translation or the Arabic for this. I'm just going to go through it to show you an indication of what I'm seeing here in Surah Jum'ah, Surah 62. Now, the first verse is basically saying that everything glorifies Allah. Okay, Desley, we'll use Allah a lot. You know Allah is God, right? Okay. So, everything glorifies Allah, right? Then the next three verses from verse 2 to 4 is telling us that the Rasul, because Allah has sent a Rasul, Rasuls, he says, or messengers, and the messenger recites the signs or causes them to be followed, it can be looked at either way, and purifies them and teaches them the book and the hikmah. Although they were before this in a state of, well, they say in a state of error, but it's dalala, and Aziz has discussed the concept of dalala and what it means. So, so it's saying that he brings the message and purifies the people, okay, teaches them the book and the hikmah, okay, which is, or wisdom. Let's use wisdom for simplicity. Even though before this they were in a state of dalala, not being able to see the truth or not being able to see the final destination, and you can refer to Aziz's notes for more detailed stuff on the dalala. And others from them who have not yet joined them. And Allah grants His fadl to whom He pleases. Now fadl is blessings, and usually translated as blessings, right?
Yeah, bounty.
Bounty, okay.
Because blessings have that connotation.
Okay, so bounty. That's in verse 4. This is verses 2 to 4. So the Rasul recites the signs or causes the people to follow the signs, right? And purifies them. Again, the purification is coming in, and teaches them the book and the wisdom, even though before this they were in a state where they didn't know, where they couldn't see the end. Okay? And now, verse 5 follows on with a parable about
By bounty, what is bounty?
Ni'mah.
Like we can see, we can hear, we can talk, we've got children.
He gives us the facility to earn a living, all those
It's not physical.
Oh, physical.
Yeah, it's like you'll see later in the surah, when it says after the salah, then you must go out and seek Allah's bounty.
This is one of the bounties.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
So that is followed by a parable of the people who were charged, who were given the Torah.
Maybe Mustafa was thinking of that bounty of the West.
Bounty.
The bounty on the head.
Watch out, he's got his gun with him.
So this is followed by the parable of the people who were charged with the Torah. Okay. But they did not observe it, and it compares them to an ass, like a donkey, carrying books. Right? In comparison to...
We have a few. Not yet, I mean.
Okay.
A few places, yeah.
Now, the same, I made a note here to say the same can be said for those charged with the Quran who don't observe it.
Exactly.
Okay? It's like a donkey carrying books, it's of no use to him. Okay? Then verses 6 to 8 deals with challenging these people who were put in charge of the Torah to invoke death if they believe that Jannah, or commonly for Desley's sake here, is heaven, is exclusively for them. And he says if you say that it's exclusively for you,
chosen people,
then you must ask for death. If you think that when you die you go to heaven and no one else does, then ask for death, but they will never do that because of what their hands send forward.
Yeah, accountability.
Accountability. Because of the things they've done, they won't wish for death, okay? But even so, death will find them. They can try and hide, but it will find them, okay? Now, okay, so I'm going to put all those together. So everything glorifies Allah, and then the Rasul brings the signs, and it's for purification, okay? It's for purification, the signs of the book. He teaches the book, even though the people were in a state of dalala before, so that purification and again moving from darkness into light, which is a common theme for the salah, is moving you from darkness into light, right? And then it talks about how not to use the book, how not to use the book. So don't use the book by, being like a donkey carrying a book. You must use the book for productive things, okay, in your life. Don't be like the people who were given the book before and they didn't use it, okay? And
I think this might be a right point. Remember, I think, was it last week or the other week where you were saying to read for Sawab? To read the Quran where we were at that other place. Somebody brought that up. So that,
Arifa mentioned.
it was an hour halqa. Yeah, so if the people who say that, it's not very necessary to understand the Quran, because you just read it, you get benefit out of it.
Yeah.
That's like the donkey carrying.
That's
the Quran.
right, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you don't understand anything of it. So this whole thing, this emphasis of using the book, which in our case we take the Quran and using the Quran productively, is stated. And then you get the verses from 9 to 11. Okay? And those verses are saying, those of Iman or those who believe are told to hasten to the dhikr or remembrance of Allah. And there's more to the remembrance than just reciting Allah's name. Okay? When the call to Salah is made on the day of gathering on Yawmul Jum'ah, and Aziz mentioned the other day, he spoke about that it's not Friday. It's not necessarily Friday. Yeah. It's a day of gathering. So when you are called to Salah on the day of gathering, you must go and leave off all trading and business that you might be doing, any bargains that might be going on and things like that. And then it says, when the Salah is over, disperse and seek Allah's fadl or His bounty, and make dhikr of Allah in order that to succeed. And it says, when they see a distraction, they leave the Rasul, the messenger, standing. And what is with Allah is better than any distraction. Now, I use distraction, but it actually says amusement or a bargain or sport or things like that.
Yeah, anything that takes you away from the focus.
And he says Allah is the best to provide. Now, the reason I wanted to go through this is because if we are understanding that Jummah is not necessarily Friday, okay, that there is a Salah on the day of gathering, okay, and
there is zikr.
There is dhikr, which is the purpose of Salah. It says that Salah is for dhikr and for purification, for remembering God and for purifying, keeping the message pure as well. So, this surah is not about Friday Salah. It's about Salah. It's about Salah, and when you are called to Salah, that you must go to the Salah. And
it's about congregational Salah.
Yes, congregational.
But you're right, not necessarily.
Yeah.
Friday.
So the first verses are telling you more about what the Salah is, that you must make use of this book in a productive way for the Salah, for whatever issue you are dealing with. And I'm just going to go here quickly to say that, look, Farad mentioned last week, and I was thinking about it, and it makes sense that for too long we've been towing the line. We've broken away to that extent, and we're still doing a lot of what we're doing there. So I think it's about time, and we can think about it and maybe discuss it at the end, is trying to find a way, like you mentioned, that the gathering Salah, where we're not just doing that ritual, and where we're not in a Quranic study environment, but where we're actually talking about a plan of action of doing some things with weekly updates. We maybe need to set it aside for a day when people aren't on the constraints of having to rush back to work, because on a Friday you have no choice. You've got to go to work,
living, yeah.
Right? So we need to look maybe at starting a weekly Salah process on some day of the week. We can discuss how that will work and things like that. Okay, so I think we need to move towards that. Okay, how much time are we on here?
Good.
Yeah, that's the reason I wanted to go through the Jummah.
I'm feeling cold.